are having an Hey everybody, I hope you are having an amazing day wherever you are in the world. This is Bobby, and today we're going to go over um, some more background context around how Passage makes loan decisions. Okay, I'm going to start off by providing some context. The highest level way to do this is to help you out by providing a saying that's common in the lending industry. That saying is, giving out money is easy, it's getting the money back that is hard. Okay, so I want you guys to be aware that our mission, which we talk about a lot, but I always want to reiterate every chance we can, that is, we want to be out there and solve the problem and make sure that every good student out there always has the chance to be able to afford studying immigration abroad. Now, to do that, you have to be very careful, because if giving money out is easy but getting money back is hard, well, it's very, very easy for you to give money to a bunch of people who don't give it back, and voila, you lose the company and you lose the opportunity to help more students. So while we are laser focused on this overall mission, you always have to be balancing that with the pragmatism to stay alive long enough in order to get to this goal. This means we've got to pick the right students who are most likely to be able to do well and therefore repay the loans, so we can then give it to the next student and the next student and the next student, and that's how we can overall together accomplish this goal of solving financial access. So as we go into a little bit more detail, I want you guys and your teams to understand that this is the framework we're going to use when we give out a loan. So for us to give out a loan, we need to be able to look at a candidate and say this student will get accepted to school. They're going to have a very high chance of getting their study permit approved. Why? We incur a lot of costs to actually go through this process of deciding who gets a loan, so we don't want it to go to waste. 3, we want to be able to predict which students are actually going to show up in Canada and do well. It's not helpful if the student gets to Canada, but they immediately fail out of their studies, or they're unable to keep up with their courses, and they end up just struggling the entire time. The 4th is what happens after they graduate. We need to predict which students will be able to get the right job in Canada. That means a relevant career job that earns a high enough salary where they're able to repay the loan and position themselves well for the final check, which is which candidates are likely to get PR. Okay? So now that you kind of know this overall framework, it should be helpful for you guys to think about when you're looking at a candidate, does this meet these 5 checks? If no, then you have a very good idea that the student probably is not Passage material. Okay, let's go even one layer deeper, and we're going to target a general undergraduate student. Okay, so starting off, we need to know that the student's goal is to settle in Canada. Obviously, students are more than welcome to come to Canada to study and then go back home. Those students are just not able to pursue a Passage loan. We focus on an age bracket of 18 to 25 years of age. This is West Africa focused, for those of you who take WAEC or NECO. The grade requirements for most good public college undergraduate courses are between A1 to C6. Passage always wants and prefers students who are a little better than average, so we hope and prefer students that are A1 to C4. Now, obviously, most of you, if not all of you, will be exempt from proving out your English capabilities with a TOEFL or a standard industry test, but sometimes we get students who show up to our loan interview and cannot communicate in English very clearly. So even though you're not formally required for a school's admission process, for these earlier checks we just talked about, we need to know the student can communicate in English well in order to believe they'll do well in Canada. Visa rejections. So we obviously prefer that the student doesn't have any visa rejections, but if they do, the rejection reasons should be minor. no misrepresentations, no other things that indicate there is a much deeper issue where we will be unable to help them no matter what we try to do. During the loan interview, it's important that our team walks away with a belief that the student has a genuine interest in the program, that they are being fully open and honest with us, and importantly that the student is not falsely prepared or reading from a script, which will be viewed very, very negatively by our credit team. Their background and family life. Obviously, we're not going to go into the super details that you might want here, but use common sense. What things might lead a candidate to be more risky for us or less risky? You can probably think through these yourself. And last but not least is a highlight. If students are fortunate enough to have access to a Canadian guarantor, this gives our team a much, much easier way to approve the loan application. Okay, so this was a general overview for undergraduate students. The quick highlights: younger is typically better, higher grades are typically better, quality English speaking capabilities, and a genuine interest in the program are really, really important. Okay, we're going to switch over to a general postgraduate student. Okay, so again, the goal of the student should be to settle in Canada. The age here is going to be a little bit older since they've already completed a 2, 3, or 4-year undergraduate. So typically their ages will be somewhere between 21 and 34 years of age. After 34, approval is less and less likely, so we do still sometimes approve candidates, but they must be stronger in other areas. Grades. We're looking for students with 60% plus in their bachelors and good grades in high school as applicable. Okay, again, we are trying to fund students who are strong but financially incapable of affording study abroad. It's not average quality. We're trying to target students who are better than average quality. English, it's important that the student speaks English very well, both for the academic requirements but also for the job market. It's very important that even though the student doesn't need to prove through a TOEFL or IELTS, we need to know that they can speak English very confidently. We also love it when a student can show a clear plan for what's going to happen after they go to school, graduate, what is going to happen next. That preparedness is an important indicator to us that shows the student is mature and responsible. Again, visa rejections, we prefer students have none, but we will approve students with minor rejection reasons only. Background fit is always very, very important, particularly for the study permit and that first job out of school. So it's really important the student has a relevant bachelor's to the program they want to study. It doesn't have to be exact, but it has to be relevant, and or they must have good work experience. Okay, this should be reflected in the resume, but also in their general ability to explain their background and their fit. Remember, to get a study permit, you have to create an SOP that helps explain your background and what is leading you to study what you're studying. This is a very critical component to getting approved or rejected. Again, for the loan interview, it's very important the student is able to portray genuine interest in the program. They're being fully open and honest with our team, and again, it is very important that they do not appear to be reading or falsely prepared. That's a really bad sign, and I really urge you to be cautious about urging students to do something like that. Family, again, we're going to ask you to use common sense here. Last but not least, the Canadian guarantor is also very important for postgraduate students. And again, to provide the quick overview, the student's got to want to immigrate. Younger is better. Typically, we're looking at mid to late 20s. Grades, better grades are better. So minimum target 60% plus in their bachelor's. And ideally, they're looking at good grades in high school as well. Very clean, confident English, a clear evidence of a plan, and a genuine interest in the program is very, very important. When in doubt, ask yourself this question. If this was your money, would you bet your own money on this student to be successful in Canada? That means, do you believe that they would do well in school, get a good job, and get PR? If yes, then you're probably on the right track. If no, then you should probably be wary that a rejection is more likely for this kind of student. Amazing. I hope this was helpful. Obviously, if you have questions, you can reach out to anybody on our team, and we would be happy to help you on a more specific basis. But again, we will not provide the entire loan methodology because we do not want people to abuse, fake, and start to scam it like they have in other areas of the industry. Amazing. Thank you so much.